Hey gang, Sally Lawrence here. I'm back in my kitchen again, and what we're working on today is bone broth. So the biggest difference between bone broth and stock is really just how long you cook it for. And I've got a super simple way to be able to do this in the Instant Pot. You may have noticed I really love using the Instant Pot. It doesn't heat up the kitchen in the summertime. It's one pot, easy to clean up, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to start with the end in mind because I've already made one batch of bone broth. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. And then I'm going to show you how to get this done. So here's the finished product. You can see how deep and rich looking that is. And there is a little bit of fat. You can just see right up here starting to float on the top. So if you want, when you chill this down, you can scrape off the fat and discard it. I actually like the fat in there for extra flavor, and fat's not the enemy. So here's how we get to that finished product. There's not a whole lot involved in this. So as you can see, I've got an onion, and it's just chopped up roughly. I've got a couple of stalks of celery. Again, you know, these pieces are a couple inches long. A carrot. These are the basics. You don't have to add the vegetables, but I like to do it. It just adds a little more depth of flavor. We'll be adding about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And then we've got about a teaspoon of salt, about a teaspoon of cracked black pepper, about a teaspoon and a half to 2 teaspoons of marjoram, about a teaspoon and a half of parsley, and about 3/4 of a teaspoon of oregano. And again, you can vary the spices in whatever way you like. For the seasonings, I'm doing it this way this time. I do it differently pretty much every time. You do want to get some seasonings in there to get some extra depth of flavor though. And then here's my chicken carcass from the faux rotisserie chicken. I'll link that recipe up for you here as well. And basically all we're going to do is dump all of this into the Instant Pot, add water up to the max fill line, and turn it on for 90 minutes. Pretty simple. So here we've got everything dumped into the Instant Pot. You do not want to go any higher than the max fill line. That could potentially cause some issues for you. And you can't really see the broth too clearly here, but it's basically just clear water at this point. And all the seasonings are floating on top. That's absolutely fine. We're going to put the lid on, seal it, and then hit pressure cook. And it's already set because I just did the other batch. So this will come on in just a few seconds, and 90 minutes later we'll have bone broth. And in fact, I'll confess the entire truth. I did the first batch evening after dinner, and because the Instant Pot is such an amazing device, I calculated the time. It was going to be 90 minutes to cook, and it has this keep warm feature, which runs for 10 hours. So I let it just sit there on warm overnight, and when I got up in the morning, went ahead and strained out all of the bits and pieces from the carcass and the vegetables and so forth, and put it in the jars that we saw at the beginning of this. So pretty simple. That's all there is to that. And yeah, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. If you found some help here, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell so you find out what's coming up next. What's cooking? Here's how it looks all cooked down. All we have to do now is strain out the stuff that we don't want and then package it up. So I've got another about 3.5 quarts of bone broth here from the second batch, and as I was throwing carcass bits away, I dumped the stuff that looked like it had some chicken actually left on it on this paper plate, and I just went through and picked it out. I've got about another cup of chicken meat there. Now, I'm not depending on feeding a family of 5 with 1 chicken to last me all week long, but I do hate to waste anything. And some of the meat that comes off of the carcass, so I pre-stripped the carcass before I started doing this. Some of the meat that comes off of the carcass after you make the bone broth is some of my favorite. And I know this will sound weird, but I really like the muscle meat around the spine. I'm not sure why, but I really like the flavor and the texture of that. And this is all going to wind up in soup anyway, so there you go. I'll link the soup video here as well.